For more on this historic night, we welcome in CBS NHL analyst Alan May. Alan, for just the second time in the last 23 years, as we just saw there, we have a repeat champion, Tampa becoming the 9th franchise in league history to accomplish the feat. Put this 22-month stretch of dominance into words for us.
Well, this is absolute insanity, what Tampa has had to go through, the entire NHL, to get there. And Tampa has changed so much in how they've played the game. They're, to be the best defensive team in the game right now. They're the best offensive team. They're gritty. They're tough. And they've used everything they've had. And I think in the condensed season that they've had to do last summer's bubble, you look at the condensed 56-game season they had due to COVID once again, and they found a way to grit it out. All of their key players, grinding it out, playing a tough two-way defensive hockey. And I really think what they've been able to do has just been absolutely spectacular. When you look at the amount of injuries that the older players have sustained. I was talking to a player that's, talking about playing 5, 6, and 7 games in 11 days during the course of the condensed season. And then the grit of the playoffs, when you're blocking shots, throwing big hits, taking big hits, and playing through injury like they are. And Tampa found a way just to continue to power up, power down, do everything they had to do to win games. And I really look at the template, and it's back to heavy hockey. The last 5 Stanley Cups have been heavy physical hockey. Tampa learned a lot of lessons about playing fancy hockey, just depending on your offense, depending too much on your power play. And they've gotten very, very gritty over the last little bit, but it's been tough. And I'm so happy for them now that they were in a sold-out arena tonight. Last summer in Edmonton, they won in front of nobody. A couple of friends and family, basically your immediate family. So now to do it with your fans and your family in the building, it's going to be a spectacular week for them.
No doubt. To the point of physicality, 56 hits in Game 5 by Tampa Bay. And to your point of the celebration that is about to go down, it is vindication for Steven Stamkos, who got to skate tonight, something he did not get to do in the clincher a year ago. Just fantastic stuff. And Nikita Kucherov as well. Fantastic stuff start to finish. And it really does beg the question. Once your name is engraved on that cup, it really requires no qualifier. But last year's bubble championship, as you mentioned, was a little bit hollow in its reception. Does what Tampa was able to accomplish this season offer even further validation to last year's success?
Absolutely. And I honestly think that last year's Stanley Cup is the toughest ever to win. You actually had to play 5 rounds of hockey to get there. And it was tough. I heard of so many players, living in the hotel for that long of a period of time, and how tough it was mentally, emotionally. And then to play in a dead arenas with 0 fans, and that it was gritty. And they still had to win the games. You had to find motivation from within. You couldn't get the fan sheet. Well, this time they got the fan sheet, more so than Montreal. Because it wasn't open up there. They said they were allowing 3,500 fans in the last round. And, I can only imagine what it would have been like up there for Montreal, the experience. But then again, they found ways to win. And no matter what, it's never going to say that it was the bubble when they won last September. And it's not going to talk about the 56-game season that they just went through. It's going to talk about back-to-back champions. It's so impossible to do in a salary cap era. You have to lose so many players every season. You got into the cap. And now with a flat cap, general managers have to be better than ever. And coaches have to be better than ever, because you can't just buy everyone that you want. You've got to work with the pieces of the puzzle that are there. So there's a lot of validation of the coaching staff of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Just a phenomenal job start to finish with those guys. And they've really done a good job. The last 2 years, they've assembled an incredible team, but they've coached it very well. They've got these guys to do things that you don't normally want to do to buy in. And, I wish them all the best in the world, and they deserved all of this. And, from their goaltender on out, it's been a spectacular run, and they're going to lose a lot of their players, because who wouldn't want a champion like the heart and soul that so many of these players have shown the last couple of years?
Well, as you said, whether in an empty barn in Canada or a jam-packed Amalie Arena, this is a Tampa team with top-tier talent at every single level. One of the best goalies in the game, some of the best defenders in the game, some of the best scoring in the game, success at all levels. How do you situate it amongst the game's all-time great runs right now?
Well, I'm looking at this team here, and they really could play against anyone. They've got speed, they've got finesse, They've got grit, grind. The goaltender's phenomenal. He's undoubtedly going to win the playoff the trophy for MVP of the playoffs, the Conn Smythe. You look at all of them. Victor Hedman, and to me, even though Adam Fox won the best defenseman, Victor Hedman is the best defenseman in the National Hockey League. You look at Braden Point, one of the most thrilling players. Nikita Kucherov may be the most skilled. Just an absolute, incredibly dominant team. And I would put them up against those Pittsburgh teams that won back-to-back, the Detroit teams that won back-to-back, the old Islanders that won 4 in a row. This is just an incredibly well put together team that has so many pieces of the puzzle that every single general manager and coaching staff covets.
Andrei Vasilevskiy is, in fact, the first goalie to win the Conn Smythe since Jonathan Quick did so in 2012. It can't go without mentioning the spectacular play of the Big Cat, not just the Conn Smythe, but in each of the 4 series clinching games of these playoffs, Andrei Vasilevskiy pitches a shutout. The cup clincher last year, a shutout as well. Alan, it really seems as if nobody is more fit for the moment than that man right there.
Absolutely. A few years ago, when it was run and gun, he had to worry too much about the backdoor setups, the one-timer shots from the backside. Now, with his team with an all-defensive buy-in and wanting to protect him, he only has to worry about the front of net. He's a big goaltender. He moves side to side so well, takes away the bottom of the net. I think only a couple of goals in these playoffs actually went through or under him, which is just absolutely spectacular when you look at his mechanics. And his game, he was on top of it. As long as he's healthy right now, you have to say and believe that he's the best goaltender in the league. I love Marc-Andre Fleury, but Vasilevskiy's been winning cups. I know he's got the guys, the gunslingers up front to win it. But you know what? When it comes down to it, the high danger opportunities, he stops them. Probably more than a goaltender in the National Hockey League. And when your team believes in you, the way the Lightning believe in Andrei Vasilevskiy, you're basically unbeatable. And every team you see that wins a Stanley Cup, they've got a goaltender that gives you so much confidence. When you look down at the other end of the ice from the bench, when you're on the ice looking at your goaltender, and you have a guy like Andrei Vasilevskiy, you know you're going to win. And you just got to find a way to grind it out to get one goal. They got their one goal tonight. Young Ross Colton gets himself a Stanley Cup game-winning goal. Just absolutely phenomenal from the net on out. And I just can't say enough about the overall game of the Lightning, how they were chameleons in these playoffs. When they needed to play with speed, they did it. When they needed to be defensive lockdown, they did it like tonight. When their power play needed to step up, when their penalty kill. Just every area of the game was on fire for these guys, and they weren't going to be denied. They were going to get their back-to-back no matter what. Well-deserving in every round. Just phenomenal performances top to bottom.
That GWG by Colton, again, proof of the depth of this Tampa Bay side. On the other side of this one, the dream run does come to an end. It's a Montreal team that came into the playoffs with the worst record of any of the 16 teams that made it to the postseason. But they got some young, exciting pieces, a Hall of Fame netminder in his own right, and now Stanley Cup Final experience. Alan, does this Canadiens team have what's required to maybe come back next season, tend to some unfinished business?
I thought their general manager did a great job of assembling this team together. They needed to be heavy. They need to have a defensive buy-in. But the one thing I think they're missing, I do believe they're missing, is they have to have more gunners. They need more snipers, more proven goal scorers. Carey Price over the years hasn't had enough guys to score him the game winner. Tonight in a 1-0 game, I didn't really feel like there was anything high danger. The high danger chances were 7-7, Montreal-Tampa. And you look at it, and there's just not enough guys that you have the belief. Cole Caulfield's going to be spectacular. I think they need to use him more. I would have liked to see them use him more tonight. It looked like Tyler Toffoli was banged up in these playoffs. He's a great signing for them, but I still think they need some work in the snipers, like a Steven Stamkos Kucherov, and those don't grow on trees. So they're going to have to wheel and deal, maybe get lucky with free agents. There's so many unrestricted free agents this summer because of teams not wanting to sign guys because of the expansion draft in a couple of weeks. I think it's 2 weeks today. You look at that, but Montreal, they've got a lot of pieces. I love their defensemen. Their six-man unit was spectacular in these playoffs. Even the depth they had when they put the other younger players, Romanoff in and Kulak. They still have a lot to work with back there. Chariot, Weber, all of them. I just think there's so many good pieces that they have there. They just need to add a little bit more, and I think they're close to they could get back here, but they play a gritty style of game. It's a lot of heart and soul to block shots the way they do, to get down, to play a physical grinding game all season long can have some wear and tear. So they need some snipers to make it a little bit easier so they can get back here and try to win themselves one.
Yeah, you couldn't ask much more out of Carey Price in this series, in this game. Stopped 29 pucks in Game 5, but it was not enough. The 2020s, Alan, they've no doubt belonged to Tampa. Not to get ahead of ourselves, but they now are just one cup away from an even more elite list of teams to rattle off 3 in a row. As you mentioned, has not been done since those Islander teams in the early 80s who rattled off 4 in a row. Majority of the roster gonna be back for another defense. Alan, I don't want to put you on the spot, but in your eyes, is this Tampa team the favorite for a 3rd engraving in a year's time?
They have to be, but I looked at some of their players. I thought Kucherov looked like he was injured again in these playoffs. Like after those cross checks from Edmonton, he wasn't able to shoot the puck. The wear and tear of going to the finals 2 times in a row in this quick of a time, when you look at the amount of time that they've had to get here, they won a Stanley Cup in September, not last June, and then they win it this July. That's a lot of tough hockey. That's a lot of gritty hockey that they played in the playoffs. I think with the wear and tear on the bodies and the free agents that they have, teams are going to poach after them. Savard is a free agent. Blake Coleman is a free agent. You look at that. Everyone wants a piece of Alex Killorn. They've got to get under the salary cap. They'll probably lose Tyler Johnson. So I'm going to say next year that cup is going to be hoisted by somebody else. And just because they're going to have to lose too many players, and it's going to be tough to assemble a perfect fitting team like they have right now. You look at Yanni Gourde, Gaudreau, Coleman. Everyone wants those guys. If they're a UFA, you're going to maybe offer more money than you normally would. I'd want Blake Coleman on my team no matter what general manager I am in the league. He was dominant tonight in the physical play, the two-way play that he displayed throughout these playoffs. There's got to be every team in the league wants to have a piece of Blake Coleman. You'd think the Dallas Stars, where he grew up in Plano, Texas, would want to have him on the roster. So I think it's going to be just a bit too tough for them to get back. I think injuries and the loss of players are going to make it. It's not going to be impossible. They're still going to have a great run and a great season. And we get back to normal divisions again, and you're going to play against everyone in the league. The tough travel, I think, will by the end of next year, I think they're going to be worn down way too much to get a 3rd one.
Such is life in the era of the salary cap, but you figure that out on the other side of the party. He's Alan May breaking it all down with us here on HQ. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you.
All right, let's take a look at what a year it's been in Tampa Bay. Call it Champa Bay because they're just rolling up banners one after another. 2020 Lightning did it in the bubble, came on home with the cup, started the celebration. 2020 Rays, a couple pitching changes, a decision here, a decision there, and you might have the big trophy as well. They settle for a pennant. The 2020 Bucks, no contest against KC. And again, the 2021 Lightning going back-to-back, hoisting Lord Stanley once again.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.